It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
People love chips and salsa.
What is up, everybody? Zeke Rodriguez here with the always amazing Alice Lotta in good old-fashioned Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. And we have always a lot to talk about. An hour goes like by nothing now. You know,
that's true.
There's so much going on. So we got a special guest, Mayra Rodriguez, coming on here. She's gonna give us a holler when she's ready. But for now, there's plenty to talk about. What are you thinking, Alice? What do you want to start with today?
Well, you know, we almost have, we can come in, we do show prep. So we kind of go over the topics and things that are happening. And just like when I used to work radio in the old days, sometimes you think, man, the stuff before you go on air is actually the show that happens. Announcement
True.
though, we are live on YouTube. Thank you so much, and we want to encourage
Facebook.
Please. Oh, Facebook. I'm
live
sorry.
on Facebook.
So sorry. Live on Facebook. We're hoping maybe pretty soon we can do YouTube as well.
Yep.
And please share this with your friends. You know, back in the old days, I can tell you, we used to do phenomenal on Facebook. George, Don Jorge, and I would get thousands of views. And then Facebook started actually following us. I guess they thought, well, this little show is not going to do anything because we had like Sheriff Jarpaio and stuff. And it started, and all of a sudden, we weren't getting very many views.
Well, there's not many people that go live, so it's not easy for some Poindexter to find some beaners going live.
No, but I'm saying we already had following, and then it makes you think they were limiting our.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you came up on the radar real quick. They're like, who's getting all that traction? Oh,
Yeah.
it's beaners that are
Oh,
conservative.
I see what you're saying.
You know,
Yes,
yeah.
I bet you're right.
Yeah.
I bet you're right. So I'm very excited to go live on Facebook. Chips and Salsa Show Arizona is doing that also. So
Yeah, they got it going on over there.
That's
Eric and Don Jorge and the Chip Salsa Show Arizona is doing great. We had a meeting with them over the weekend about doing some more interactive stuff, going live like we're trying to do here at Facebook. We still got another day. We got 24 hours to wait to go live on YouTube. It's freaking weird, but we're getting on there eventually. Anywho,
technical.
shout out to everybody.
And,
all the love and all the support. It's been great, guys. Thank you so much.
And also for the Chips and Salsa Show Arizona, Cheryl Rosado, who is kind of she's the permanent partner, I believe, for Don Jorge.
Okay,
So,
cool.
great job, great job. Okay, so let's
That's
see.
right,
Let's
that's
go
right.
ahead. And so much to talk about, but we have to talk about.
Oh, shout out to Albuquerque too, Francisco Vigil, a big supporter of the Republican Party up in Albuquerque. He just tuned in, and he's got a large reach out there. So shout out to Albuquerque. We're covering the whole Southwest around here. I didn't mean to interrupt you though.
No, that's fine because I love it when people tune in and like soon afterwards I'll have this on there because we used to do that too. That way we could talk to people. Hey, because it should, if you like our Facebook page, you should be alerted to it when we go live.
Yes.
Now we actually went live through yours, so I'm not sure how.
And we're on my
that works.
platform, which is mostly Albuquerque and Las Cruces areas.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of Santa Fe in there too, a little bit of rural areas in New Mexico, but very strong New Mexico following.
Which is good for your millions of followers that you
Oh
have.
no.
Ooh, doggy, yeah.
I'm honored to have the support that I have.
Well, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about so many things. So maybe we could talk real quick because I watched a little bit of the hearing for Kim Cheadle. She is the Secret Service Director.
Oh,
so
geez.
a congressional hearing. I was, I'm turning C-SPAN on now because I want to see the whole thing unfiltered. And I will tell you, as would be expected, the Democrats that were asking questions, a lot of it was veering, guess what, towards gun control and talking about the mass shootings and things like that. I'm thinking, you have the Secret Service Director. She is there to answer questions. And what I did see from our side, from the Republican side, they did a pretty good job. They asked some good questions, trying to get answers. A lot of what she said was she really couldn't answer, and I don't know if she didn't want to answer or she was using that as an excuse. You know, you can go back to C-SPAN and you can watch yourself. So I encourage you to do that. Bottom line is, a lot of the Republicans were saying, you should be fired.
Yeah, she was overseeing that entire failure, that utter failure. I mean, the roofs were too pitched for Secret Service snipers to get on. I mean, come on.
And they did ask her very specific questions, and even on very specific questions, it's really tough. Those things are always kind of tough to watch. But I encourage you, because a lot of times, like I say, watch it unfiltered. That way nobody can say, nobody's there broadcasting, well, this is what I think they said. No, go ahead and watch it live for yourself, not live, but watch it recorded for yourself. So you see what actually did happen.
Shout out to the balls on that woman. I mean, Trump was supposed to die. He's not supposed to be here. They're not supposed to be getting caught the way they are. And she still had the balls to get up there and lie through her teeth. You know, so
You're talking about the Secret Service.
To Cheadle, yeah, Cheadle. What's her name? Cheadle, yeah.
Kim Cheadle. Yeah.
Kim Cheadle. Shout out to her for having the biggest balls on earth. I mean, they failed. They had like 2 different shooters too. You guys saw that?
They asked her about that.
Right.
They asked her, have you heard that there's a second shooter? And she wouldn't say.
Of course not.
She said, I think she said something like, no, I don't believe that I've heard that. So, you know, wouldn't you like to have a little lie detector test when they're up there testifying? On anybody actually. Man. Well, the thing that I did find out about her, because they kept saying, well, she worked for Pepsi, and she actually has like 27 years of Secret Service experience. Okay. Now, I don't know, you know, these last 2 years as director or whatever, but before that, I don't know exactly what she did for Secret Service. I was kind of hoping to find that out in the hearing. But like I said, I didn't get to listen to all of it because I was in and out. What do you think will come of this?
Of the Cheadle thing?
Of the hearing.
They're gonna bury the hell out of it, like they do everything else. But you know, one good thing that came out of it is that Trump did end up hiring the owner of Blackwater. His name escapes me, but he's gonna be doing his private security now. And I guess what was it called? The Orange Team or something. It's like all of the retired Delta Force and Special Forces guys and colonels have came. He's basically got his own standing army now of Special Forces guys, plus the Blackwater guy. So that's cool. You know, finally, I don't know why it took so long to get him. You know, like the JFK assassination, we knew it was a CIA. We knew it was an inside job then. I mean, I don't know. I was one. I trusted the Secret Service. I was like, oh, as long as Trump's got Secret Service, he'll be all right. Look at that freaking blunder. That was pathetic.
Used to be a very dignified or well thought of organization. Now, I did hear, you know, Dan Bongino?
Yeah.
I love Dan Bongino. So somebody was saying, okay, Trump should put you in charge of the Secret Service.
Yep.
You know,
straight up.
He's got the experience.
He's smart as hell. Yeah.
And you could argue that, well, is he more effective at, you know, being on the radio like he is? But he did say, I believe what he said is that he would, if President Trump gets in there and asks him to serve, that he would serve, and he would be fantastic.
Yeah, we need people in these offices at the end of the day. Like, yeah, you can say he's more effective as an announcer or whatever, but you know, we need people doing county commissioner. We need people doing mayor. We need people to watch the property. We need people to go to the school boards. We need people to do all this stuff, because without that, we lose everything. We need people who have higher moral standards to be in these positions of power. We need to really start focusing on that, guys, because we don't necessarily, especially in New Mexico. Geez. You know, I was going to say this too. What really motivated me to get into running for office and get into politics is you just hang out with most of these people and they're just so off. I'll just say that. They're off. And it just really is to a point where...
Okay, so what do you mean off?
You can't believe this is the individual in charge of so much money and responsibility. Like, this guy or this girl can't even think her way out of a wet paper bag, and they're in charge of my kids, or they're in charge of my government. It's embarrassing. Especially someone coming from the business world, where it's like, it's all on the line. You work your face off to get things done. You make your own future. These freaking bureaucrats are just so used to sitting on their ass, and their mindset is to take taxes and not save money, and they just don't have a good worldview. They don't have a good worldview. There's good people out there that are smart, that I know that can do a much better job than these people. And we end up always losing the elections because these freaking people get in touch with these high dollar freaking multinational campaign teams that represent the Democrat Party, and they guide them through the whole process. They didn't have to think. They just walk them through with all the money from Planned Parenthood and who knows where else.
There was a Republican congressman today and said something along the lines of what you're saying. So this is Washington, D.C., where you don't necessarily have to be that qualified. In fact, you know what? If you're not, they'll probably give you a promotion. Just keep them in there.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That is what's wrong. You would never run a business that way.
No.
Because why? Because you wouldn't be making any money. But here, guess what? That doesn't stop the money from coming.
Not only are they not running a business or failing a business, but they're actually destroying our children's minds. They're actually destroying and wasting so wastefully our taxpayer dollars on the most stupid things, guys. If I could tell you, I got to spend a couple hours just going over all the fraud, waste, and abuse that I've experienced working for the government, being involved in politics and for the government. It is sickening. So what's the solution? is to get off your ass and run for office. If you got the time, you got the resources. We just need more good people in there.
And if you can't, support someone that you think would be really good. And we have a lot of good Republican candidates here in New Mexico we're supporting. Mike Kane is one of them, and he is going to be a phenomenal district attorney.
Yep.
We really need to get him elected. True blue, solid, knows his stuff, and coming back to New Mexico, I'm not saying, every state has its problems, every community has its problems.
Hell yeah, it's normal, yeah.
When you see a dynamic candidate like that, it gets you excited. You think, okay, we can bring back the community and we can have justice again. How is this campaign doing, by the way? Let's go ahead and take a minute. Might as well plug him.
It's going really great. I mean, he's got a lot of good things going for him. Mike's a great guy, and we do need a Republican district attorney like no other. But if you just look at the holistic geopolitical environment, it's just a damn good time to be a Republican right now. It's like, especially what just happened with Trump. I mean, there's a possibility he can win on just a down ballot vote for Trump. If everybody comes out, I mean, most of the candidates that are in there today could all just win by virtue of Trump right now. That's how bad things are shifting in Republicans' favor. But aside from that, we're going to hit the ground running, do everything possible to get him in there. District attorney's big time. You know what really pisses me off? And I don't want to speak for Mike. This is just me. What matters to me is for district attorney is if you're at your house, someone breaks into your freaking house, and you got your kids in there, or you got you and your husband in there, and you got your dog, and you got to shoot the guy who's trying to kill you. He's broken into your house, and you got to shoot him, or your wife might die, or you might die. You got to do what you got to do. And there's DAs around this country that are jailing those people, because they're on your property and you're defending your land with your Second Amendment right. You're going to go to jail. That to me is the most biggest disgusting affronts to the Constitution ever, and that's why we need a good DA for me.
Is that different in different? What is it called? Stand your ground. Do I have that right? Do that. There was a gentleman in Phoenix. This is several years ago, and that exact scenario happened. So someone was breaking into his house. The dude, I think, had his hand inside of the guy's window, and he shot at him or something. Which fine, you're trespassing. You're breaking into a house. And he was having to fight the system because something like, excessive. No, that's not excessive. You shouldn't have your hand in somebody's window without permission.
How else is criminals going to learn? If you go on someone's property and they shoot your ass, that's your fault. You shouldn't be on someone's property illegally. That's the way it used to be when I was growing up. That's the way it used to be in the 80s and 90s. If some dumbass came on your property and freaking messed around and tried to find out, that was it. That was the end of it. And it was a good deterrent too, because all the criminals are like, all right, I'm not going to mess around with that anymore.
And they knew that you might have a gun, so you better, make sure before you break in and do that. And
direct correlation with Second Amendment open carry laws and decrease in crime. Direct correlation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I say, this hearing that I was watching.
Oh yeah.
Democrats, they were making it their agenda to talk about gun control. And you just know it. Just about every single person was doing that.
That's
and I'm thinking,
so
I thought you were
pathetic.
supposed to ask questions of the Secret Service person, because it's not. And Secret Service, it's not only for the Republicans, President Trump. I mean, whoever is the candidate, whatever they decide there on the Democrat side, Secret Service is going to have to account for them too. So you want the best people there possible, right? That's what you want.
Yeah, but that's not what we got. Look at the people running our country right now. They're so bad. The people are so bad.
We need to change that. We need to keep changing that, working on it. And I'm so glad. And that's why I'm so glad we're doing this show. And especially with me, the boomer, you, the millennial. I mean, isn't it so cool?
I think it's great.
President Trump's a boomer, right? I think he's
46. He's barely in there.
46 is where it starts. So it's 46 to 64 is a boomer. And then J.D. Vance is a millennial. So I think it's a great combination. The more I read about it, I really think he made a good choice. And I still haven't watched that movie or read that book. I want to.
Yeah. I had a few people reach out to me recently because I still don't know much about J.D. Vance. I heard some stuff today that wasn't very good from someone I really respect. But hey, nobody's perfect at the end of the day. And here's what the biggest criticism is that we're not supposed to be letting the president pick the vice president. We're supposed to be voting on the vice president too. Constitutionally, we're supposed to be voting on a vice president. There should be a separate ballot for a vice presidential candidate.
When does that happen, though? All the elections I remember.
From what I understand, that's the way
always
it's
been
supposed to be. That's not supposed to be the fact that the president picks the vice president. So.
And you spoke with a constitutional lawyer?
A lot of people have been complaining about that online. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's to my understanding. That's not the way it should be.
Do we have? We used to talk a lot to Jeff Utch in Arizona because he was like a Constitution expert. Do we have somebody here that maybe we could bring on the show? Because I always have questions about that.
Man, everybody pretty much sucks the Constitution in this state.
That's terrible.
I've taken some constitutional law. I'll do some research and I'll come back on that. But I've heard big complaints that we shouldn't have done the president, pick the vice president. Mr. Vance was from Yale, which to me is a big red flag. I mean, freaking Yale, dude. That's brutal. That's a brutal one. And then he's taking a lot of big tech money. But we were talking about that earlier, and you got to get money where you got to get money sometimes in politics. That's just what it is, guys. You got to play the game to beat the game. So I'm not too hard on people. I'm open-minded about JD. We'll see how it goes. I'm not like...
Now,
I'm sure he couldn't be as bad as Pence, for crying out loud.
There's also... we got Mayra calling in.
There's Mayra. This chick's awesome. Lady, woman. Prima.
Hello, Mayra. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I am so sorry.
No problem at all. Okay, we're doing this very old school. I'm holding you up to the microphone, so I'm going to check with Joey, our production guy. What do you think? Oh, thumbs up. Sounds great.
Is it thumbs up? All right, thumbs up.
And I want to introduce you to maybe a relative of yours. I don't know. Zeke Rodriguez here with me.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's great to talk to you. Looking forward to going to your event coming up here August 6th at St. Genevieve's here in Las Cruces. And I heard a little bit about your story from Alice. God bless you. You've been through a tremendous amount. And Alice, if you have any questions for her, go ahead. I got some questions for sure.
Okay, I'm just going to kind of introduce you to the audience. We are live right now. And Mayra, we're live on Facebook to let you know.
Okay.
And if you need to go, because I know you're doing a bunch of interviews, just let me know. It's all good. So,
how long do you want? You want like 15 minutes?
Yeah, can you give us 15 minutes?
Yes, of course, 15 minutes. ¿Allá lo hago ahorita?
Fantastic.
Okay, yeah.
Great.
Gracias.
So,
I'm just doing a quick radio interview in New Mexico. Can I do it here? Thank you. I'm ready.
All right, we got permission now. Yeehaw.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so Mayra, I'm simply going to introduce you as a Planned Parenthood whistleblower. You can do it better than me in a couple of minutes. Give your quick story, and then we'll promote the event.
Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
All righty, so tell them how you became a Planned Parenthood whistleblower and how that came to where you are now.
Well, as many other people that have worked for that industry, I started working for Planned Parenthood with the idea that I was helping people and women, but not only any people, right, and women. Like, I was hired because I speak Spanish, and they needed someone to speak to my community, the Latin American community, the immigrant community, the Hispanic women. So obviously, I started working with the idea that I was there to help women. And for many years, I thought I was doing just that. I thought I was helping women, first of all, be in control of their bodies, right? Like prevent pregnancies, like do all this preventive care by working with that side that Planned Parenthood likes to say it's 97% of their services. And I became really good. Alice, I became really good selling abortions, which I know it's sad for many to hear, but I came to the realization now that that's what I was doing for 16 years. For 16 years, I was promoting the idea of abortion being safe, of abortion being necessary, of abortion being this magic wand that just cures and helps all the women problems in the world, right? And sadly, I discovered that that was not the case. But when did that happen? So after 16 years, Alice, of me working and promoting and being a devoted employee of Planned Parenthood in Arizona, I get named Employee of the Year award for being so good. Then I become the director of the biggest facility of abortions in Arizona, Glendale.
Wow.
And once I started there, then I start seeing the reality of abortion. It's very easy for anyone to stand up and say, no, abortion, they're not even babies. And then you're there, and for many years you told women, oh, it's just a clump of cells. Oh, it's just tissue. Oh, you're just going to see tissue. And then knowing that it's not true. It's a baby. There's hands, there's feet, there's a torso, there's a head. You're part of this business that literally dismembers babies in the womb, makes puzzles out of them, and then throws them in bags to be cremated when they don't have usage for them, right? Because when you have usage, then they exploit these babies by selling their baby parts to labs or whatnot, right? So when I become the director of the abortion facility in 2016 in Glendale, Arizona, I start seeing women getting hurt. For many years, I told women, that's one of the biggest lies that I told women. Your abortion is safe. There's rarely any problems happening. The reality, it's not true. It is not true. There's no such a thing as a safe abortion. It's not true that that's safe, right? I saw women get perforated, at least. I saw women leave that center with perforations, bleeding, excessive bleeding, complications not reported. I saw the abortion, it's falsified patient chart. I call out to my former worker supervisors, and I was like, something's going on. He's not doing his job. He's harming women. Something's going on. Here I am thinking, Alice, that this is just happening in this center. That this is the abortionist doing all these wrong things, right? To my surprise, that was just not, it wasn't an isolated event. But how did I find that out? Well, I left Planned Parenthood in 2017 after accusing the abortionist of forgetting the baby head inside. My employer didn't like it. They fired me. I started a wrongful termination lawsuit against them in 2017. I gratefully won in 2019 with the help of God. And after beating Planned Parenthood in court, now I am a pro-life advocate. Now I'm here standing for the unborn, here to tell the truth about abortion to women. And that's the reason I did that case, Alice. I did that so people can hear the truth about abortion.
Hallelujah, and thank you so much. And what a story, right?
Yeah, that's really epic. Well, I mean, I wasn't asked if, you know, the babies, from what I understand, they get sold. Like you said, if there's some use for them, they get exploited. I loved how you put that, because that's the rumor that I've heard from several credible sources. And from my understanding, that those fetuses, if they find a home for them, can be worth it can be very lucrative, upwards in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. Is that true?
That is true, and we have to understand what's happening. Why is it so important for people in the state of New Mexico to understand? If people do not understand why, if the majority of abortions are supposed to happen at 12 to 15 weeks at the most, we have many states pushing for abortions to full term. Well, it is not the same, the value of a liver of a not developed baby yet, fully developed, and the liver of a fully developed baby, right? I mean, that is like common sense. You don't have to be a scientist to understand that if it's a full developed liver, then there's more usage for it. Same thing with the heart, same thing with the kidneys, right? Same thing with the tissue. I mean, we know that the cells of a baby are so powerful that there's even cases of women who had been diagnosed with cancer that their pregnancy cured their cancer, right?
Wow.
There's a lot of stories out there about that. So we have to understand why these companies that pay so much money want to use all these powerful baby cells, right? And people need to understand this is not about protecting women. This is not about, especially not protecting the unborn women, which is 52% of the abortions internationally, globally. 52% of the abortions are women in the womb. So what is this? This is to protect the abortion industry. It's like what's going on in your state. When I heard that the state of New Mexico will be putting down $10 million for a mega center in Las Cruces. Yeah. I mean, what's the population in Las Cruces?
We have like 115,000 people in Las Cruces. The county's about 200,000.
But they want to capitalize on the Texas market because everybody from Texas is already flying over.
And Mexico, because you are the border with a state that it's still holding the ground strong to not allow abortions to enter. Chihuahua, Mexico, which is Ciudad Juarez, your border state city, it is the city, it is one of the states that has remained very pro-life and strong and conservative from Mexico. Like literally, it's one of the very few left. So they're targeting Texas women. They're targeting the Mexican women. But then on top of it, let's remember, Ciudad Juarez, after San Diego, California, it is the second largest city of human trafficking in the world. I mean, more more humans are trafficked in that corner right there of Las Cruces than anywhere else in the world. And that's another reality that people in New Mexico need to understand. There's a reason why such a small town that already has 4 abortion facilities, including one funded by the Satanic Temple, would like to open a mega center in the same little town.
So you're like, I love hearing from you because you're like abreast with the same things that I'm knowledgeable of too. I mean, you're educating me, but yes, I understand the severity of the situation.
And you're confirming it.
And you're confirming it. It's like
not just
it's worse than I thought. It's worse than I thought, which is not funny or anything. But so who's the biggest purchaser of these baby cells that you're talking about? These labs, or who's paying this high money for all of this material?
Well, you will find that the biggest lab for fetal research, it's in no other place than Silicon Valley, California. And I mean, I'll be happy to send you guys the link so you can put it there for your audience, but it is located in Silicon Valley. People just have to Google who is the biggest fetal research lab in the world, and California comes up. You know, it's not funny, it's sad, right?
What are they doing with it?
Very sad.
The University of San Francisco has been the pioneer of experimenting with unborn babies. I mean, we have many organizations that have actually protest constantly, and they get arrested for protesting this harvesting of babies in the University of San Francisco, California. So obviously there's a lot of money behind this. It is an industry that not only collaborates with human traffickers, and people call us like conspiracy makers because we said that, right? But I'm telling you from someone who worked there, and I was told, that my only job was to ask women if they were safe. Even if I saw the signs, I was to ignore the signs because I am not the FBI or CIA, and my only job, so we are covered, is ask the woman if she's safe. If she answers yes, that's it. You don't need to ask anything else. So obviously, any woman who has been part of a human trafficking, who's been abused, who has been raped, and their perpetrators waiting in the lobby, she's going to tell you she's fine. She's afraid of the guy waiting outside.
Right.
She doesn't think we're going to help her. So if you just ask her, are you safe at home? Yes, I am. Yeah. Just get this over with. So it is an industry that preys on women, and an industry that exploits women and exploits the unborn, and now they want more of our money. I am sure, I don't live in New Mexico, but someone that lives in Arizona, I could use those $10 million for my community in many other different ways.
Absolutely. Think of all the kids that we could save and provide for with $10 million. We're so glad that you're coming here. Wow. So this is going to be an event, ladies and gentlemen, August 6th here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And Mayra's
We're calling it an emergency dinner to stop the center.com.
Yes, emergency pro-life dinner. And I'm going to give the phone number out. It's for St. Genevieve's. It's going to be at the Parish Hall. As you can tell, and Mayra, this is just a few minutes you're getting to Mayra, so you're going to get to meet her. You're going to get to hear more of her story. As you can see, she is so knowledgeable about all this. And it's a free dinner, so you call St. Genevieve's, and I'll give you the number is 575-524-9649, 575-524-9649. If you have just a little more time, Mayra, do you have a little more time for us to ask a few questions?
Yes, of course, and I just want to add something to what you just said. Not only be part of this dinner, not only help us, but can you imagine being part of and being able to say, I stopped the center, we stopped that mega center from opening in our town? Like, it is time for the people of New Mexico, which I know a lot of great people in New Mexico, great warriors. Like, I've been there in many occasions and talking to the people that live there, they're like, we didn't even wanted that, right? It is time for the people in Mexico who says enough. We're not going to continue to be like literally the guinea pigs of the abortion industry, where they get to do whatever they want in our state and we remain silent. And why do I say that? Let's remember that once this industry is able to do that in one place, they will expand and do that in many other states. So by the people of New Mexico stomping on this, and it is possible, Alice, it is possible to stop the center from opening. We just have to work together and work hard at it, right? But imagine if in the future people will be like, oh, we did it. We stopped the center in Mexico, and we can help any other state. They won't even attempt to start that nonsense of opening mega centers in other cities. So, but yeah, go ahead and ask me.
Well, what you say is so powerful. And, just working the referendum signatures, I think I explained the process to you, but I will at a later time. There are so many people, voters, people who live in New Mexico, that don't even know that abortion is virtually there are no limits here at all. Mm-hmm. And once they find that out, they don't believe me. Has that happened to you, Zeke?
All the time.
They don't believe you that's actually the case. And
even though, Alice, you guys have like recorded live action, did awesome by recording phone calls with the center, cover up interviews, right? Like people that showed in there undercover and asking for late-term abortions. Right. And even though you keep showing them all this proof, they keep denying that happens in their state because they don't know.
And do you think they just don't want to believe it because it's so hard to fathom that a little baby, just about ready to be out of the womb, that you could, now hopefully there aren't very many that happen, but even if just one were to happen, I mean, I hate abortion anyway, period. But I don't want you to go because, real quick, I want to ask you about the latest on the Republican platform. You are a conservative Republican like I am, Mayra, and mm-hmm. We're super pro-life people, as is Zeke, and but you are still a supporter of President Trump, correct?
Yeah, but remember, Alice, I became a citizen a year ago. I'm excited to vote for the first time this November. I mean, I've been in this country for 30 years, and this is the first time I get to vote, right? So I'm excited to vote. Yeah. But obviously, I will be a lot more excited and thrilled to vote for someone that, he was unafraid 4 years ago. He was unafraid 8 years ago. And I know it's not him. I know it's some people around him that for some reason think that if we stick to the abortion argument, we're not going to win. And we are here to tell them it's a lot of us on the pro-life side. It is a lot of us that we're telling you we are here. We're unafraid. Let's defend these babies.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, and that's crazy that you had the correlation between child traffickers and human traffickers and these people who are buying these fetal tissues or in that same market. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Yes, well, one thing that we need to understand is, for example, in New Mexico, there's hardly parental consent needed, right? Even when they need parental consent, it's very easy to not have it, right? So many states right now we're facing where they're collecting signatures or they're putting on the ballot this abortion access amendment acts, right, where people will get to vote in November if they want on their constitution, state constitution. So all of them talk about a 12-year-old not needing parental consent. Now I'm going to tell you something. I worked for this industry for 17 years in Planned Parenthood. If you ask me how many parents refuse to sign an abortion consent, I'm going to tell you that sadly I hardly had any parent refusing to sign. So if my experience as someone who worked there for 17 years is that most parents are willing to sign that consent for their daughters, then who are they removing consents for? I'm going to tell you who were the only ones that didn't have their parent consent. They were runaway kids, which they could be sex trafficked, right? Especially if they're minors. They were minors who were impregnated by an adult, which means a statutory rape, right? They were foster kids that didn't have their parents with them. Is that we are talking all about kids that probably are being abused by someone, right? So who are they protecting when they remove a parental consent? They're protecting child abusers. Mm-hmm. That's who they're protecting, because they want to sell these abortion pills to just anyone, and anyone can buy it and give it to the woman they're abusing at home, right? And we won't even know. And we have heard that happens, right? And so in human trafficking, I mean, right now in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, which is the border state with La Cruces, when women come through the border and they're pregnant, the very first thing they do is offer them an abortion at a Planned Parenthood or in another abortion center, whatever border town they are and whoever the abortionist is. So what does that tell you? That it's part of the human trafficking. So yeah, it's not that they sit down in a big room or do conference calls or anything with human traffickers, but by just telling you to not pay attention to to the signs of someone being trafficked, by then telling the employees to, just look at a blind eye and look somewhere else. And like I said, many organizations have done a great job with undercover videos. And now about trafficking the baby part. I mean, you saw that. The value of money in those babies is gigantic. And they don't want babies that, like, people are like, what? But they use the babies for miscarriage. That's not true. They don't even want those babies because to them, they were not healthy. If the pregnancy ended as a miscarriage, that means something was wrong with the pregnancy. So they don't want the tissue of a baby that could have been something wrong with. They want healthy babies. And there's an organization in San Francisco called Pro-Life San Francisco, and they even show you the consent that they have given women, that they testify that they have had a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby up to their knowledge. They don't want sick babies for this experimentation. I mean, if you guys can go and check their page, you'll see the amount of research and the amount of investigation they have done and the amount of times they have stand up in front of the UC schools protesting to stop the harvesting of the unborn.
Wow, there's so much information. That's why I really am encouraging you. If you live in the Las Cruces area, I mean, you might live in Alamogordo or nearby. Heck, come from Phoenix if you want to.
Even if you're in Albuquerque, please come and see us and enjoy the night.
Right, it's going to be really good.
This will affect the entire state, right, Alice? This is not just Las Cruces. I mean, this affects the entire state. It's money that should be going somewhere else.
Right, $10 million. And that, I think Zeke knows New Mexico better than I do. I've only been back 2 years. But that is, I believe our governor decided to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yep, she pledged.
And she is supposed to be Catholic. It's disgusting. You know, it's really very, very sad.
Catholic as Biden is.
Mayra, what kind of message would you give to parents? Because as we were talking, I don't think the parents realize just how bad it is here, and to know about your sons and daughters and what's actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, this center will literally take away their parental rights, Alice. In this center, not only will abortion be happening, they're planning to have transgender services, right, where they will have, like, supposedly therapists there to affirm the gender of the child, right, and that will be removing the parental consent. There's many things happening in this center. I mean, obviously, the new thing, it's abortion. Well, not new, but the biggest, it's abortion and the gender services, right? Mm-hmm. So most parents are really good parents, right? They care about their children. And when they're telling you they're going to open a center where you don't even have to go there for your son, your daughter to get into all this drugs, because they have no other way to call it, hormonize their children, give them puberty blockers, right, which will destroy their lives forever, or perform an abortion, right, on your daughter. I mean, that steps on your constitutional rights to parent your children the best way possible and to what you believe.
Mayra, if somebody wanted to contact you, what's the best way they should do that?
Yeah, well, they can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Mayra Rodriguez, and message me. I think I reply most of the time very quickly on Instagram, and then the access to my WhatsApp and text messaging is also there. But also, I mean, if they come on August 6th to Las Cruces and help us and be part of this amazing event, where the most important part is that if we unite and we're together, we can stop the center.
Absolutely. I am looking forward so much to seeing you. Zeke, was there anything else you'd like to ask her before we gotta let her go?
No, I'll make some comments when we let her go. I know she's got stuff to do. I'm really looking forward to meeting you, Ms. Rodriguez, and thank God for all of your services, and I'll be praying for you. And yeah, thank you for everything that you're doing. I mean, God bless.
Thank you. Can't wait to meet you too. Can't wait to see you, Alice. We miss you in Arizona.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, one more thing. Do you still have a podcast that you're doing?
We're actually starting another one. I don't have the old one, but we're starting another one where we're just literally going around topics that affect our Hispanic community for the voting season in November.
All right, fantastic.
And we're calling Tu Voto Actúa.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Mayra. We'll be seeing you very, very soon, August 6th. Safe travels. You take care of yourself, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. God bless you. See you soon.
God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was a hell of a phone call there.
What a story, huh?
It corroborated everything that I'd heard about it, and it was even worse than I thought. But I have a little bit more of an open mind towards abortion and, like, you know, child sacrifice. I mean, it's been they've done archaeological studies, anthropological studies. Anytime a population gets past like 5,000 people, you know, the priest class takes over, and they end up sacrificing the firstborn kid. I talk about this all the time. I mean, like Pharaoh did one of the firstborn son. So, you know, child sacrifice has been around forever.
It's not new.
And it really wasn't until Christ came that we started pushing against human sacrifice, child sacrifice, cannibalism, all that stuff. The Crusades fought for and brought over here to the new land and got rid of a lot of that. Because a lot of the native tribes were engaging in this type of behavior. All populations all over the world, it wasn't just here in America. People who were just living without Christ get engaged in this type of behavior. The mutilation stuff's extreme. I can't believe that the Planned Parenthoods are actually doing the gender affirmation stuff now. That is freaking mind-blowing.
Yeah, that I really had. I'm glad she spoke about that because that hadn't even occurred to me. I really can't encourage you enough to, if you can't make it the 6th, you know, it's summertime, people have vacations and things they got to do. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends. We'll post it up on Facebook because she just gave us a little taste of all her knowledge. She has been doing this for a long time. She's super active and she'll be right there. You can meet her. She's a super sweet, down-to-earth person and you can ask her questions. So I really encourage you to do that. So I want to give the number one more time. You call St. Genevieve's and you get some really nice people there, okay? That's my church. And it's going to be at the parish hall. And that's your original church too, isn't it, St. Genevieve's?
Yep.
575-524-9649. Again, that's 575-524-9649. Knights of Columbus are doing it, and man, it's a free dinner, and they do food right. Have you gone to any of their stuff?
Nah, I haven't been there in a while.
They do food right.
I haven't been there in a while.
The Casey's there, they do an awesome job.
We still got to get into Biden being gone.
Yeah, okay, so, boy.
What are
Predictions.
You doing?
Okay,
what are you doing? What do you want to do?
So I think we should talk about what actually is going to happen. There have been, of course, you know, the rumors are going. Is Kamala going to be the nominee? Is it going to be Michelle Obama? Is it going to be Hillary? Right. Okay. Let's pretend that you're a Democrat. Okay. Pretend really hard. All right. Who would you say? You're king of you're king of the Democrats. Who would you put in there?
Oh.
Who could be Trump? That's the question, right?
This is the death of the Democrat Party, guys. It's over. You know, there's no one. You guys got nobody. All of them are just awful. I mean, every single one of them, one by one. Gavin Newsom, Hillary, for crying out loud. You know, a freaking Kamala everybody hates her guts. Even the black people hate her. They hate her.
And you know what? Here's one thing, too, about Kamala. Okay, let's say that you think Kamala, she's been the vice president. She has all this experience as prosecutor. She was in charge of the border.
Of the border.
What's the biggest mess of this administration?
So they're all just so abysmally bad. I mean, this is it. The party's over. Literally, the party's over.
There's no one that you could think. It would have to be somebody that would probably convert to be a Democrat from Republican.
If you look at the polls,
maybe
it looks like Hillary probably has the better poll numbers, and she's already been doing her pre-presidential book tours. You know, so they've been gearing her up for this for a couple months now, and they've got thousands of articles talking about how much better of a choice Hillary is. So on the polls, Hillary probably has a pretty good jump on Kamala. But compared to Trump, I mean, it's not even close. Like, there's no way. There's no way they can beat Trump. None of them.
And then, because you know more of the technical stuff as far as, especially in New Mexico, what I don't understand is there have been a lot of primaries that have already happened, and they've got the Biden-Harris ticket.
That's right.
So what happens there? Do they have to have a new primary? Do they just change it? I mean, I'm so confused about everything.
It's so hard to win any election without like a year or two of campaigning, to get the name brand recognition through the population, to just have a good campaign. So the sheer idea of them lobbing a candidate in 6 weeks before the election is just an affront to our humanity and our Constitution. I mean, it's just
and you're right,
ridiculous.
Because some states start voting in September. I mean, voting's going to start pretty darn quick.
It's the most ridiculous thing that we could probably. I mean, we're alive right now, guys. This is 2024. right now. It is bad out there. I mean, Trump wasn't supposed to survive. That's why they're freaking out, because he ain't supposed to be here anymore at all. He's supposed to be gone. However happened was supposed to be gone in the cloud, in the fog of war. We weren't supposed to find out anything. It was just he was dead and that was it. But he's still here, and we caught him. And so, what are they going to do? You know, they got a lot of options. You know, they can do World War III. They can take the power grid, a nuclear weapon. I mean, it's either that or they go to jail. You know, so I mean, if I was them, a total evil scumbag, I would probably be blowing things up by now. You know, here pretty quick.
Somebody was asking me, maybe they thought that Biden should step down totally from the presidency and let Kamala be president.
Right.
And if you were thinking in a logical way, okay, you'd say, well, that's probably a good idea, because then you could show that she could actually be in that position and do the job.
Right.
But I think that's exactly the reason not to do it, because I don't think she can do the job.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, so if you want to talk about polls and momentum, that would be the best way for a Democrat to win, is for him to pass the torch to her. She can use that momentum as running the president as now, you know, and use that to launch her campaign, right? And that would be, I think, that would probably beat Hillary, whatever she was worth. But the problem is that Kamala is supposed to be just really dumb and terrible, and she can't lead her way out of a wet paper bag. She's just incompetent. So yeah, like you said, she can't do it. She can't do it.
I don't know, just because, you know, Kamala, I used to be able to do an impression of her, because it always sounded like she was just kind of, maybe she'd had a drink.
She's on pills.
Like that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what pills sounds like.
If I could just do that laugh, then I would do a great impression.
The cackle?
I can't do the cackle. Yeah, the cackle. And there's so many jokes already going around. Oh my gosh. They have her as a, you know, you guys are...
I've seen her with knee pads. Everybody's got those knee pad memes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You guys are too young, but the old Batman series, did you ever used to watch? Na. I know you didn't, because that's from my time. But they had all the characters, and they had like the Joker and the Riddler. So they're calling her, they had her all dressed up in Batman fashion makeup, you know, real exaggerated, and they called her the Giggler, because she was a giggler.
She's
the Cackler
bad.
would be better, maybe, huh?
Bad.
The Cackler.
So, you know...
Predictions? Any predictions? Maybe you're thinking of, Zeke, that nobody's thought of.
I think they're going to let Trump in there, but they're going to try to do Civil War style red flag events while he gets in there. And I think they're going to bounce back and come back and hit us hard again in a couple of years. You know, they do have those drones with nerve gas and all the opioids and stuff. They got it. They spent trillions of dollars on that, so that's not going away. So I think we could win for a little bit, but it's a pendulum, right? It's going to go back and forth. I think we're going to have our day with Trump in there, but we got to start using that momentum, like when he won in 2016.
Yeah.
Kick ass and take names while we can, to get ready for the next pushback on the other side.
And the thing is, he gets back in. There's so much work to be done. There's so many things to be done. Now, what I like is, I think there are a lot of good candidates for his cabinet. Like we talked about Bongino.
Vivek.
I'd like to see Vivek in there.
I love Vivek.
He'd be great.
He's my favorite still.
He's so inspirational.
For me.
He's such a good speaker.
He's the best speaker of them all.
He's awesome.
Him and Mark Robinson, I think, are like probably the two best public speakers right now of them all.
Wouldn't that be great?
They're both phenomenal.
Wouldn't it be cool? You could have them switch off and be the spokesperson.
Those two guys are freaking amazing. They both have amazing stories. They both are super articulate, and they're just, I don't know, they make me proud to be an American for sure. I love those guys.
And, you know, a little bonus of being a minority, too. And here's
the
cool thing, too.
Doesn't hurt.
This RNC convention, I don't know how much you got to see of it. Did you guys watch it, Joey and Haley?
Nah, I didn't see it. I didn't watch it.
Well, you can go back and you can watch bits and pieces. But I've been to Trump rallies and things, and the energy is always, it's great because you're with people that are happy to be there, and they're excited, and they're patriotic. It's really good. That really came through in the convention.
Yeah.
The speakers, and oh, by the way, so next week here in studio we're going to have Kim Skaggs,
Yay.
who used to be our Doña County chairwoman.
Yes, she did. She was just over there, right?
Yeah, and she was texting things to us. She's going to give us a full report, and she's going to bring some signs too. We're going to have some Trump signs as well. But the excitement, you know, I'm going to watch the DNC convention because I want to.
It's going to be so bad. Remember last time? Last time was so pathetic. It was so bad. Do you remember them? It was all on Zoom because of COVID. And it was just so poorly organized, and the people were just so uncharismatic and flat and boring and dead. It was.
They might decide to do it on Zoom again.
It was one of the least entertaining shows I've ever seen in my life, and I'm talking like bad. Like I'd rather watch a middle school play rehearsal than watch that crap.
I have good friend. We might have to interview him sometime. He's an author and he lives outside of Chicago. I said, hey, you ought to go down there.
Heckle.
And do like a little, lives and things like we do and stuff like that. And he wrote me back, I don't want to get shot. Because he's old enough like me to remember.
They're crazy. Have you seen these people online lately? These Democrats who are hating on Republicans right now? They're getting bad, dude. Really? Evil, nasty.
Well, I was listening to, C-SPAN, they have the different lines. They have independent, Republican line, Democrat line. They call in, and the Democrats, first of all, what's really, really upsetting and kind of scary too, some of them call in and really hate the fact the Republicans talk about God too much.
It's in our Constitution.
They talk about God too much. They're really making this too much about God.
That's our covenant with the protections and freedoms that we have with God. It's the Declaration of Independence. It's in there 4 times because that's our deal with God. We live by your rules. This is your land. This is our land. He'll protect us. Once we got rid of God, the covenant between us, our land, American land, and God, it's gone. It's null and void. Without God, our contract is gone.
And I've had arguments with some liberals that say, that's where we get our rights from, because they say, that's because look in the Constitution, we believe that, and it's in the Constitution, endowed with the Creator. Like what did Biden try to say that thing? He's trying to quote the Constitution and he couldn't remember, and maybe that wasn't on purpose. Maybe he really couldn't remember. It's
really hard to conceptualize. I'm trying to encapsulate it. So what happened is at the highest degrees of consciousness, tyranny has always been there to enslave humanity for whatever reason. They want to sacrifice your kids, they want to sacrifice you. That's just always been there, all right? But what it came down to, our founding fathers, it said, well, because God gives us our rights, we have the justification and the power and the will to defeat you, tyrannical English, British, redcoat leaders. That's all it boils down to. Without us saying our appeal to God, our divine purpose to defeat you, the tyrannical leaders, that is why we're able to defeat you in war. That's the only reason we have our freedom, because we all collectively appeal to God and said it's only that because we are created in the image and likeness of God that we're able to defeat these godless other people. That's what it is.
That's a very good way to put it, and it's fighting evil. The fight. It's fighting the evil concept, and then the policies, like you focus on the sin, not the sinner, because you're fighting the sin, essentially. Because people just look at Mayra that we just talked to. For how many did she say? 16 years, 17 years?
Man,
she worked at Planned Parenthood.
Can you imagine
She
that?
really thought, she was a true believer. She really thought, I'm helping women. I mean, she was indoctrinated.
She probably got paid.
And she did it for a long time until finally, boom, it happened.
The boom, let's talk about that real quick because we're coming up at the end of the show. Hulk Hogan came out and is big time pro-Trumper now, and I didn't know, but he always had been a pro-Trumper. And he kind of spoke. I put it on my stories.
He was on the RNC.
Yeah, he was the RNC. I put it on my stories, but he basically said because he was an entertainer, he couldn't support Trump but he said it was a cowardly decision. But I want to comment on that real quick. I understand that most people don't have a position to say that they support Trump or they're a Republican. They don't. They work, especially in New Mexico. You work for the government, you work for the hospital, you work for the city. If you're known as a Republican, the local Republican or local Trump guy or Trump girl, they give you a hard time around here. So that being said, when you do have people in your neighborhood that are pro-Trumpers that do have that freedom, support them. Listen to them. Spread the message however you can. So I'm being more empathetic towards that message. Although Hulk Hogan has been super rich and famous for a long time, he probably should have been supporting Trump since day one.
Well, and a lot of them are coming out, so to speak. Yeah, did you see he ripped his shirt open?
Yeah.
The dude's 70. Did you see the guns on him?
He's only 70? I thought he was older.
He's 70. No,
he's still got a while then. Oh, he's tall though. Those tall guys go out quick.
But I was just impressed because he still had
he's still jacked.
muscles and everything. So it's
freaking RFK is freaking jacked.
And I think he takes some testosterone.
Yeah, he takes testosterone.
Which, that's okay.
I'll be doing the same thing.
By the way, didn't they gave him Secret Service protection?
So what? Now they're going to kill him.
Finally. And on another podcast, I heard a guy talking, and evidently, and I'm sure this is true, there have been assassination attempts in his campaign too. Do you know about that?
Come on. I mean, just down in Mexico, they had to kill 39 presidential candidates down there.
Oh, what did I see the?
It's like in America.
Oh, man.
Nah, we're not going to let that happen here. It's either it's do or die here right now, guys. If we don't get behind Trump and get a decent human being in the presidential seat, we're gonna be like Mexico real quick. They're just gonna be killing your ass for any office you want to run for.
Someone was
not that far from it.
assassinated today. Was it a mayor?
Damn, really?
In Mexico or something? Oh my gosh, I had the headline, and please forgive me, but all you got to do is look it up. Mexico, we have become Mexico. I really feel
we're
like
starting to.
Because here's the difference, though, too. The corruptibility was always accepted in Mexico, even when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
Just the mordida and everything, everybody's paid
10%.
It was a way of life,
Yeah.
okay? And that's why our ancestors said, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I want to come to America where the law means something.
Right.
But I feel like we have become that in a way. The problem is we're just letting the corruptibility be known. And now we're being honest about it. I think before people were just covering it up. And now you can't. You can't. There's shows like us and people that are speaking against us. I mean, about it and against it. So I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of hope.
I do too. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, but I see us winning overall. I think we got too much momentum now. I mean, we got Elon Musk on our side, all the big dogs, Joe Rogan. Got Hulk Hogan on our side now. Damn. That's what we want right there. But yeah, that's it, guys. So we're about wrapping up, guys. I mean, I think we're coming up here to the end, right?
So don't forget about
Mayra Rodriguez. That's a big deal, guys. I mean,
pro-life dinner.
I learned something today. Something very disturbing. But that's humanity, guys. It's dark out there. Where there's darkness, there's light. And we try to bring some light to the table, too.
And I always like when you close it out in prayer, because you do such a good job.
Lord, thank you again for bringing us another awesome show, and for Mayra Rodriguez and all of her angelic work, helping the kids. And I just pray that you continue to give us the strength and the energy and the wisdom to do this show. And thank Joey and Haley for giving us this opportunity. And we just pray that the community awaken, Lord, and work with us to save our communities, because we need the help. We need as much spiritual soldiers as we can get. So I pray that you get this message out there and that they join us in our battle for freedom and humanity. Thank you, Lord.
Amen. Nice job as always. Thank you, Zeke, for another great show.
No problem.
We love you, Arizona and New Mexico and the United States of America.
Later, guys.
It's also New Mexico.
Thank you, guys.